What's going on, guys? Evil Dragon here, back with another video in the Can This Video Game Fit on This Older Console series. Today, we're doing Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and real quick, before we get into it, the last time I did a Five Nights at Freddy's one of these, it became not only super popular, but my most popular video ever. So, thank you all for that. That's awesome, and I hope I can, do this one justice as well, because I'm glad you all listen to my stupid freak ideas. Like, can Fnaf 3 fit onto an N64 cartridge? Real quick, if you're new here, this is the first one you've seen. What we do for this series is we look at games that are more modern and can they fit on older technology just by taking stuff out of the game. I'm not, technologically into this. I don't really have the know-how, but what I do understand, if you take stuff out like their memory, like say in Minecraft, you take out certain blocks and mobs, it'll lower that memory storage capacity. So again, this happened with Resident Evil 2 back in the day, where somehow Resident Evil 2, a 2-disc PS1 game that was 1.4 gigabytes, was put onto a 64 megabyte cartridge for the Nintendo 64. So in theory, a even smaller game, like FNAF 2 here, could do that. On the console storage, it's actually smaller than both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, so it should have an even easier time of being put onto an N64 cartridge here. Here's its actual memory storage size, based off a little quick Google search here. And so yeah, what could we take out of FNAF 3 to somehow get it onto a N64? And potentially more importantly, before we even take stuff out, we need to discuss controls. Because look at this controller. How does this work with this game? Well, similar to what I did for FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, you will move in the office with the stick, of course. When you're over at either the camera panel or at your maintenance panel, you just press L1. L1 is the camera button on all controller versions of FNAF, and so it would be similar. Not even though in Ultimate Custom Night and FNAF 2, R1 is your mask. Considering you're not using both at the same time, you don't have access to both the maintenance panel and the camera panel at the same time. When you're over at the maintenance panel, L1. Over at the camera panel, L1. Doesn't matter because you can't use them at the same time. When you're at the maintenance panel, and you open it up with L1, just use the stick down and then A to reset anything, or B to exit, or L1 to close it back down. It doesn't matter, those are the controls there. For moving around in the camera, you have to go ahead and just move the stick, and then to go ahead and get to the vent toggle, you would just press B, which would switch back and forth, and when you're hovering over a vent that you want to lock, you would press A on the N64. And then again, B to switch back from the vent to the normal cameras, around the stick, L1 to close it. And similarly, kind of how with A being the closed vent on the vent side, when you're just trying to use the audio layer, just press A once again to go ahead and use an audio layer on whatever camera you want when you're in the non-vent cameras, just the regular cameras. But yeah, those would be the controls. I think they're pretty simple, pretty easy, and they match what we've talked about and discussed before for doing FNAF 1 and 2. And again, it just, works with the current FNAF kind of games on console. Now moving on to what will actually be taken out of the game to shrink it down here on to the N64 cartridge. Well, first off, starting off, of course, the graphical quality, maybe the audio, it's going to all have to be muddied down a bit, turned down a bit, obviously. We all know that. But for the main part, everything should be fine. The cameras should be fine for the most part. The all-error system, again, should be fine. The ventilation system should be fine. There's only one animatronic you have to look for. There's not like the multiple, like in FNAF 1 and 2, that, their AI is super in-depth there. Of course, there is stuff here, but with Springtrap, it's just him himself. So what are we going to do? Well, what I think here is we are going to remove some Phantom Surf stuff. Of course, nights 1 through 5 are going to stay the exact same, They don't really need to change. However, Phantom Foxy can appear whenever, wherever, in your office. I think he's essential. Same with Phantom Freddy. Phantom BB can appear on any single camera when he wants to. Again, I think he's essential. But then we have the weird ones like Phantom Mangle, Phantom Chica, and Phantom Puppet, who only appear on certain specific cameras. Now, do we take them out of the game because they should be taken out of the game? No, I don't think so. But those three, again, are so unlike the other three that I just mentioned, who appear wherever, whenever, either in your office, which is where you mainly are, or just on any camera like Phantom BB. They're so specific with Phantom Puppet on Cam 8, and Phantom Chica on, I believe it's Cam 7 with the arcade screen, and Phantom Mangle on Cam 4. They're all just in specific camera locations, and so it kind of makes it awkward when they have, a lot of depth into them. They're, them in the files and whatnot. Whereas they only appear once, only do one thing. and you could really easily just kind of take them out, and that way, you know, it would save memory storage. So with that in mind, do we take them out? Well, before I do want to talk about that, we have the extra mode here, which I just don't think we need at all. It just shows off the jump scares that you might have missed. It has some extra challenges and cheats. We can just get rid of that entire extra mode and everything comes with it. So the aggressive nightmare cheat in the game, the no errors cheat in the game, all that stuff, we can just remove that whole section. Again, it shows off all the jump scares. The other jump scares are in the game, but it's just a whole extra section we don't need. We can just remove the entire extra mode in its entirety. Then we have the nightmare mode, which of course makes everything tougher. And in the previous times I've done FNAF 1 and 2 talking about this, we have removed Night 6, which is what nightmare mode is. It's effectively Night 6. Because there's no custom game. There's only one animatronic that can kill you, and that's Springtrap. But with FNAF 1 and 2, I did keep custom mode. For the most part, really just the max mode. But for this as well, considering it's one animatronic, one night, I think we can just remove, again, you know, nightmare mode entirely. Even make nightmare mode into Night 5, all its AI levels and its increased difficulty. Put that into Night 5. But that way we can just remove that extra night in its entirety. Just take it out, remove it out of the game. There we go. And the final thing here is there's also the arcade minigames. And again, we're going to get back to the animatronics in a second with the Phantoms. But the arcade minigames, there's a whole lot more. I believe there's one or two more than FNAF 2. We have with, you know, Shadow Bonnie, and you have with Balloon Boy, and Mangle, and Chica, and all these little minigames and whatnot that have their own little hidden pathways, of course, for the good ending and bad ending, which again, there should just be one ending. Get rid of those good and bad endings. Get rid of that stuff. But even with the arcade minigames, that means all the hidden secrets that come with it. I think we can remove those, all of those in their entirety. But again, then the other arcade-style minigames we have is once you beat a level, beat a night, you of course play as one of the animatronics and then have Purple Guy take you down. It's supposed to, you know, show the story and how that's progressing. Once again, do we need these? I mean, for a story game, sure, now. But back in the day, when it's just kind of waste up space, I don't think we need those. So I think we can take all those out. And that brings us all the way back to the Phantom animatronics that are only in a few of the cameras. If we take out everything bare bones-wise, all the little hidden secrets, all the arcade minigames, dumb down the graphics and the audio stuff, get rid of the entire extra mode, get rid of nightmare mode so there's no Night 6, but, you know, take its AI to make Night 5 a little bit tougher, and just have Nights 1 through 5 with all the animatronics and Springtrap, I do actually think it could be possible that's enough. I don't think we need to remove any of the animatronics, because in the past, you know, we removed Golden Freddy, some of the hidden Easter egg, you know, animatronics like JJ or Shadow Freddy. But I think here, we really just need to keep the game super bare bones, just Nights 1 through 5, dumb down everything, and again, that's it. That's all we need, just the base Five Nights at Freddy's 3. But yeah, I think that's all we really need, so without further ado, hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. We are close to 400 subscribers, so hopefully we can hit it before school starts here. But again, maybe leave a like, maybe leave a nice comment down below, maybe hit that subscribe button, retain that little bell, and I'll see you all next time for another series in this, you know, where this video game fits on this older console series. We still don't have a name for. Anyways, bye everybody.